Okay, so where were we? Building a business from the beginning to end, something with profitability no matter what. I'll tell you where we left off here. So we ordered the dedicated server. And after that, we got to this area. So look back at what I had said before. But if you were to add a domain name here, it's basically a domain name registration. So you can order the server and put your domain names in later at any given time, or include it here, and it would be set up with that in your online panel. So once you click OK, add it to the cart, pay, set up an account, you'll get an email. It will look like this. Your order is processing, and I'll say we are setting it up. There's actually a promotion. I think I have the link down below for a free month, which is $100 or $130. Not too much time will go by, and you will get, your order is complete, and it'll give you your welcome package and a link to your Plesk ID, which is your contract ID. And then a link directly to the Plesk login, which looks like this. So you'll come and you'll get into a website and you'll log in as your root user, and then you can change that information later. This is where you're going to configure all of your customers, all of your domains, all of your settings, everything else that's going on. And from the look of what it looks like in your panel from one-on-one, it's basically this information: your host information, your initial password, everything that you would probably set up here as far as username and password in oneandone.com. So you log into oneandone.com with that account, it would have in here your dedicated server, and then all the information here, where if you can pretty much do anything from here. You can reset the server, re-image the server, or you could reset the passwords, control options. There's some things you can do here in one-on-one panel. But this is not where we pretty much spend a lot of our time, usually once and done. And then if you have to reset anything or restore anything, that would be what you have to do. Most of our time is spent in the panel itself, which I'll just bring up for you here. And this is where you come to and log in for the first time. It will look like this. You will have over to here to your left all of the different areas that you will go into as far as setting up customers, resellers, and domains. One of the aspects here is that you can have a customer. So if you have a dedicated server, you can set up individual customers below you. So if you have ABC company and you are ABC company, you could set up, DEF company, and then they would sell your stuff as a reseller also. I've never really gone down that route, because then you got to worry about them doing some other things to your server. So, I mean, if you're cool with that, no big deal, but you can also put restrictions and different things on that. So if we look here, if we wanted to set up a new customer, we would just come in here, hit the customer, add a customer. Pretty straightforward stuff. Resellers are people with different types of rules and things, but most of our work here is set here in the domains. So if I were to come in here and add a domain, this is where you initially set everything up here. So the domain name, we're doing the cover network, the covernetwork.com. Create a new subscription. So here, if you had a subscription set up, which is down below here, it would automatically do it. Sometimes there's different allocations with space, email addresses, all types of individual setting, data usage. You can limit a lot of things. So even though it may be risky to set up other customers and have them on your server, you can control them. And if you were to do that, I would recommend using subscriptions to limit them in areas that you want to. So say username and password, this would be technically your FTP information. IP addresses, it's usually a shared unless you request a dedicated for some reason that you need it. So you type in your username and password. If you don't know one, you can just generate one, and it'll do one automatically for you. What's pretty cool here is that you used to have to pay for SSL back in the day, maybe like a couple months ago. And here you can just do it from the server itself. So all of your sites will have an HTTPS in it, and that will take care of not only some SEO stuff, but security and encryption on that level. Also, if you do our Git user, you can automatically install instances and libraries and things from there. I don't use that stuff. I do use the secure domain, or the SSL. So here you would put in your email address, do what you need to do, and hit OK, and you would set yourself up as a domain and then go in to cover it. So here, I mean, we're going to change this anyway, but let's say the cover network, whatever they give it to me, fine. I'm going to use the encryption here. I'm going to use my Eric at, actually I'll use the one I never check, at the webmaster.e.com. Eric at the webmaster.e. Done deal. Boop, and hit OK. And now your website is set up, ready for hosting. However, if you read up here, it says the domain, the cover network.com does not resolve to the IP address, meaning that you do not have your DNS set up yet to reside or point to this address. So I'll get into that into a later video, but basically you go in there and configure it and say point to this IP address, and that would then tell that domain name to go to that IP address. Pretty straightforward. It's like forwarding a phone number, but it's just a translation really. It's translating this number to an actual name. Now that we have it configured, if you wanted to go back into it and reset the password or do anything like that, you can do that from here. And this is basically your panel for where all the stuff's going to be for your individual website, setting up anything and everything that you would want to do. PHP is usually something I do off the bat. PHP settings. You have several different ones. So you have your choices. I would just go right to 7.3.1 and then keep it where it's at there. A lot of times you run into mass post sizes and input sizes. Actually 8 megs not bad. I'll just go 16 because I lock the stuff down, and then the max upload is 16 too, because some of the times it's a lot of big files for photos and photography and videos and things like that. So you go ahead and set all that up, change the PHP and everything, go from there. And that is basically your ability to upload any type of content management system. And that would be anything like WordPress, Joomla, or whatever is out there these days as far as cookie cutter implementations. Other options over here, they have a lot of SEO tools and settings and things in that nav bar, but we'll just go through some of the easy, I guess, options here that sometimes I use. If you wanted to set up your FTP access to allow others to log into your website, you could do that there. FTP access and add another account. You see, you're the main one that's set up, but if someone else wants to get into your website or have FTP access, they would be able to do so here. Back to where we're at. Something interesting. Web statistics has always been, at the website level. So there's a lot of Google Analytics these days and things and other sites you can plug into your website. But at the core level, web statistics, when configured, are always on your server. You know exactly what keywords are coming and things like that. So the raw files are actually here. And sometimes they're more robust than some of the plugins would have you be, because they kind of hide the numbers sometimes, and just it's a whole other game. So anyway, but we'll set that up later down the road. So the tools and settings over here and the application vault. So if you go into the application vault here off to the right, you will find installed the My Apps area. As you can see, there's none available yet, but that's okay because you go back to the subscriptions. And once you created that domain before, it actually created an automatic subscription. So go into here and plug into that subscription, look deep into it, and then you'll see here the different applications that you can add to the actual domain. So for instance, if you just wanted to blindly install WordPress, it's a click of a button and it's done. Also with Joomla and Drupal, you could do that, and you can always add other applications and things. Also here is where you can get access to some files. I know sometimes people need access to files and they don't know how to do FTP, but I mean, I suggest always learning how to do FTP, really simple stuff. But you can come in here and get all your access to your files as if you were doing FTP. And something that intimidates people sometimes, databases right here. I mean, you create, we need a database, no problem. Add database, boom, hook it up, click the button, name it, add what site it's going to get done or associated with, username, password, and allow local connections or not, depending on your security settings. So this area here in the tool set is all different things. And when we configure the statistics, that will be there too. So you'll have all your statistics and information, traffic, web analysis, all that good stuff. There's also some WordPress settings in here. When you install that, some things you have to do, what's installed on that domain. So it's another view. You don't really need to know how to do this, but it's always good to have high-level access to understanding what's going on there. So let's go back and into the subscriptions. Like I said here, this is where you can install the information, but also the subscriptions here is a lot more of the information. So for example, email addresses, if you were to set up email addresses, click on the email and you create an email address, username, password, information, and you know, if you want to forward the email address, have an alias, an auto reply, anything you want to do for email addresses can be done in the subscriptions area underneath the, you know, the domain or whatever subscription you associate with that domain. What else we got here that we use? Mail settings. That's probably about it as far as information here. The PHP, we changed that already. That's it looks like it didn't save, so I'm going to go to 7.3. Always the newest version of PHP. And our domain is set up. And now what we can do, I'm going to do another video through showing you through FTP. We're going to use, I think, FileZilla is what we're going to do. So in the next video, I will do FileZilla. Hope you learned something.